Hey guys, Papa Pete back, and I'm back as a follow-up to last week's video of my top 5 simulation sports, my favorite ones of all time. And today, I have my top 5 favorite sports arcade-style games to share with you today. These are all great games, so much fun to play, so stick around, here they come.
Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. If you haven't grown up by the age of 50, you don't have to.
Before we start, I'd like to introduce everyone to IntellivisionCollector.com, your one-stop shop for all of your Intellivision collecting needs. From learning the basics and starting your collection to high-end and rare games and variants, Luke at Intellivision Collector has something for everyone who loves Intellivision. That's IntellivisionCollector.com. Now before I get going, I want to explain to you what I mean by arcade-style game. An arcade-style game has some things which are changed in the rules of the game, whether it's a number of players or flagrant rule changes that really make it significantly different than the real sport. They're not going to try to totally replicate the sport. The goal of the game is to just create the most fun experience at all for the players. And I find that when a lot of people who aren't really into sports have their favorite sports games, a lot of these arcade titles are on their list because they're not looking for the replication of the sports that they played themselves, like many of us are, but they're looking for more just a good time. So there's a lot of sense to it. Anyway, let's start with the number 5. This game's probably a lot higher on some people's list, but my 5th favorite arcade sports game is the NBA Jam series, whether it's the Tournament Edition or whether it's a regular edition. I played a lot of NBA Jam, not so much in the arcade, but right on my Sega Genesis. I did love the game. It's so much fun. 2-on-2 basketball, throwing the elbows, fouling, everything like that. It's just so much fun. It's a great game to play. I like the fact that you can pick the regular players, the real players from the different teams, and play through the other teams. I was never great at it, but there's no denying that it was a lot of fun to play. NBA Jam TE, right here. My next favorite arcade-style sports game is one that really should be on a lot of people's list, but I bet you they overlook it, and that's Wii Sports. Wii Sports was absolutely amazing because everybody could play it. Everybody could have fun with it. It wasn't realistic at all. I mean, there's boxing, tennis, bowling, baseball, the home run hitting contest or whatever, and the bowling was absolutely my favorite one of the bunch. I can remember being out there one time right after we got the Wii. My youngest kid was about 8 or 9 years old, and I was trying as best I could, and she was just doing the same thing over and over again. It was hilarious, and she kept throwing strike after strike after strike, and everybody else was just laughing because she just had it right down pat, and it was so funny looking. But anyway, as an arcade title, non-realistic, non-simulation, you can't get any better than Wii Sports. I call it my 4th favorite arcade sports title. Now my 3rd favorite arcade sports title is Nhl 3-on-Three, which was on the Xbox 360 arcade, Xbox Live back in the day. I downloaded that game. You used to be able to pick from 3 different players, and the teams, you'd have big guys, little guys, fast guys, and it was just craziness. There were power-ups on the ice that would fly out. You try to grab them, so you turn into a miniature player, you turn into a super-sized player, super shots, incredibly fast. It was just so much fun. Nothing at all realistic about it. It was basically the NBA Jam of hockey. It wasn't available on a cart. It was only downloadable on the site, and man, I played that game a lot. Nhl 3-on-Three. It was absolutely fabulous. If you get a chance to play that, go for it. Now my 2nd favorite arcade title, I sort of bounce back and forth about putting it on the simulation or on the arcade because it does have the right amount of players. You can play leagues. It tries to do things as realistically as possible, but there are other elements which really makes it arcadey. Most of all, having softball mixed in, and they all sort of play on the same field and made up players and stuff. And that is Baseball Stars, SNK Baseball Stars. I looked at the balance and I decided to push it towards the arcade style. But I played this game a ton, played seasons, made players. It was had a battery backup chip in it, and this is my original game that I had back in the 80s. And I just simply love that game. And it is very arcadey. If you haven't had a chance to play this, it's a very smooth playing game. Baseball Stars.
Honorable mentions.
Of course, when it comes to arcade sports titles, there have to be some honorable mentions. Well, first of all, I'm going to put it under honorable mentions. It's on many people's lists as their absolute favorite sports titles, let alone arcade sports titles, and that's the NFL Blitz Series. I had it back in the PlayStation days, and it was a lot of fun. I also had it with the Dreamcast, but something happened to it. It got destroyed. But I played it a lot. I even played it in the arcade a little bit back in those days, and it was a lot of fun. And again, NBA Jam, Nhl Three-on-Three, NFL Blitz, how they all the same style of gameplay where it's completely cartoonish, completely arcadey, and just a lot of fun. Now my next honorable mention is also in the arcade, and that's a game you may or may not have heard of. That's Pigskin 621 AD. That was an absolutely fabulous game that I used to play in the arcade all the time when I was in university, and basically it was a lot like Mutant League Football and Mutant League Hockey, which I gotta sort of throw their names in there too. I haven't played those games a whole lot, but they're based on the NHL 94 engine, and they're also based on the Madden engine a little bit, so I mean they gotta be fairly well playing games. But this game was in the arcade, Pigskin 621 AD, and it was just so much fun. Again, using weapons and setting traps and trying to score touchdowns, and it was just, you'd have to play it to believe it. Get a chance, hook it up on main, give it a try. Now I've got 3 more quick honorable mentions before I get on with my number 1 favorite arcade title, because I'm telling you there's a lot of these great games, right? And the first one I'm going to show you is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Man, it doesn't get any better than Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, right? I mean, totally arcadey, based on sports. Just so much fun. You gotta love it. This game I played a ton of in university. That's ice hockey, of course. Being from Canada, we loved ice hockey. And in 1988-89, this is about as realistic as you could get, I suppose, at the time. Yes, Blades of Steel come out afterwards, and Blades of Steel looked a little more realistic, but it was no more realistic than this one was, really, other than the players look better. These players are totally made-up little caricatures. But it's just so much fun, the 3-on-3 hockey. Beautiful. And my last honorable mention is another one that might be a little bit, sorry, okay, is this sports? Yeah, I say it's a sports game. And that's the wonderful game that is Excite Bike. Everybody loves Excite Bike. It's a fabulous game. I used to spend more time building the courses and running them than playing any of the regular ones. But still, it deserves an honorable mention here. So okay, we're down to my number 1 top absolute favorite sports arcade title of all time. And listen, you know the era I come from, so no, you're not seeing a whole lot of newer games on these lists. But this one, again, I wavered back and forth a little bit, whether it was arcade, whether it was simulation. And at the end of the day, I thought it doesn't have quite enough attempt at realism to call it a simulation. But man, it's my absolute favorite arcade of all time. And that is Tecmo Super Bowl. This is probably one of my absolute favorite games on any system. I played this a ton. We used to play it in university. I've said it before. We played it back in university. And we used to set up tournaments and play them right through the playoffs. And man, I spent so much time. This is the original copy I bought back in 1992 when it first came out. And I am so happy to still have it today. I love playing it now on emulation. I love playing it with the updated rosters. I love watching the games on YouTube when there's different leagues and stuff still out for this game. And that's because it is so much fun and such an absolutely fabulous game. Tecmo Super Bowl. Tecmo Bowl is awesome too, man. But Tecmo Super Bowl is the cream of the crop. My absolute favorite sports arcade title. Well, guys, that's it for my top 5 sports arcade games. That's simulation ones. Check the other video for my top 5 sports simulation games. And now I've done the arcades. So, man, I think I gotta go play some of these games right now. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for spending a little bit of time with me today. Don't forget to hit like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video. Take care.
Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. If you haven't grown.
What's going on, guys? This is Smash JT, and you are watching Papa Pete, the old ass. Wait, no, the old guy gamer, right? I mean, I listen to the theme song. What am I supposed to think here? I don't know.
What the hell?